What is up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily. I am not Greg Miller. I am Andrea Renee.
You're much more pleasant than Greg Miller, I have to say.
Why, thank you very much, Tim. Of course, the pure one, Tim Gettys, hosting with me. We've only hosted together one time before.
Yes, and now this time you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, Greg was like, "Do you want to host?" And I was like, "Okay."
Let Andrea host.
Yeah, here we go. So today is Tuesday, August 22nd. Gamescom is still happening in Europe. Even though most of the big news happened yesterday, we do have a couple things going on. Before we get into that, some housekeeping. Andy has informed me that Party Mode Part 2 of PUBG is up for patrons. The stunning finale, he called it.
It is a stunning finale. You should go patreon.com/kindafunnygames to get it early. $1 above level. It'll be free for everyone tomorrow on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Andy put a lot of extra work into this one, and the end will shock you. So, check that out.
All right, so you heard the man. Don't forget that if you guys are watching us live on Twitch, that's twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, you can keep us honest, because sometimes we make mistakes. So that's why we have kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Well, hey, I make my fair share of mistakes.
It's okay.
Yeah. And we need you to help us make sure we don't make those mistakes. We will read those at the end of the show. And of course, if you want to get involved in the conversation on what we talk about here, that's kindafunny.com/KFGD. A lot of people wrote in today, Tim.
Oh, yeah? I wonder if they were really happy with Nintendo and they were like, "Oh, I'm so happy I got my pre-order."
Maybe not. Maybe that's not what people said.
Well, we'll see.
We will get to that in just a moment. Well, probably several moments. But first, we are going to do what is and forever will be known as the Roper Report. Time for some news. Did I say it right? I think so. We have 3 items on the Roper Report today.
A baker's dozen!
Good Lord.
I thought there was going to be more considering everything happening at Gamescom, but like I mentioned earlier, most of the big news got out in front. But number 1, the SNES Classic Edition had pre-orders go live, and they showed off a new trailer with some new features.
Fancy stuff.
Did you see
really
this trailer?
Stoked about it. I didn't watch the whole thing. I skimmed through it, so I only saw bits and pieces, but I love the Super Game Boy-esque borders that they got going on for everything.
How you can
Very
customize
cool.
it.
Yep, love that.
So over on Game Informer, they kind of wrote up a little summary. It says, Nintendo's SNES Classic is going back in time, and we're not just talking about the unit's games. A rewind feature lets you replay tricky sections. All it takes is a button press to rewind a section of the game, and Nintendo says the amount of time you travel back depends on the title itself. Some can go back minutes, while others 40 seconds, depending on what suits the game. It will also feature suspend points, frames, and of course, that unreleased Star Fox 2. So I thought the suspend points was actually a really neat feature as well, because there's so many different games. Maybe you want to start playing one and then jump to another one. It lets you stop the game, pause the game where you're at, suspend it, start playing another game, and then you're like, oh, I want to go back to exactly where I was.
Yeah.
Pick it up right where you left off.
That's awesome. So, it's like save states in emulators and stuff. Because at the end of the day, this is just a fancy emulator. But I got to give them a shout out for putting this much love and attention into this thing. They know they're going to sell out. They know that people want this. But when it comes down to it, it's like they could have just put the games on it and called it a day. But they're doing like what Rare Replay did, which is like really kind of presenting this as like a tribute to the Super Nintendo. Now, I want to bring something up.
Okay.
There's an idiot that works with us named Andy Cortez. He got one, so congratulations to him. But he calls it a SNES.
I don't call it. I've never heard that term before I started working in video games. Like in the last couple of years in particular, I've heard people call it SNES. And I want to know, where did you people come from?
Yeah, why?
Who are you?
How is that a thing? It's obviously either the Super Nintendo or SNES. Call it what it is. No one calls the PS4 the PS4, right?
But they might.
Yeah. So fuck you, Andy.
Just kidding. We heart Andy, but you're wrong on this one.
You're wrong.
You want to come say something?
Do you want to defend the SNES?
Do you think this is a generational thing? No, you guys are like the same age.
No, I'm like 2 years older than Tim, maybe, right?
Yeah.
That's like very close to the same age.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. I called it Super Nintendo my whole life, and then I went through puberty and became a man, and now I call it the SNES.
Is that what you are now? Yeah. Do you call it the PS4?
No.
Why not?
Because it doesn't read phonetically like that.
What?
SNES spells out SNES.
No, SNES is not a word.
PS4. How would you say PS4?
You have to read it.
But I don't read it. That's
But
the thing.
if you had to.
But
It
you're
would
not
just be-
reading SNES
yeah.
either.
It's like I used to say Ryu my whole life, then I went through puberty and called it Ryu.
No, that's
different.
that's
It's SNES.
different. There's an actual
It's SNES, guys.
pronunciation for that
Check out
word.
Party Mode on patreon.com.
Okay.
Let us know in the comments how you say it, if you're right or wrong.
So, Tim,
Yes.
I have to ask you how you want to proceed here. Lots of people wrote in about the SNES Classic. Do you want to wait till reader mail, or do you want to talk about some stuff right now?
Let's talk about it right now. I think
Okay.
it makes the most sense.
So, before we get into some of your thoughts, and you guys had lots of thoughts, the pre-orders went live in the dead of night last night. So it was I was online finishing up some work stuff, and I saw that the pre-orders on Best Buy, everyone was tweeting, Best Buy pre-orders are live. Everyone go. I
Mario
went,
64 on it.
tried to get it, and I kept getting an error that said it was not within pickup within 250 miles of my location and wouldn't let me ship it. So they were like, sorry, you can't have it. And so I got real sad. And then I stayed up late playing some shrines in Breath of the Wild. So I'm in bed on my Switch.
Yeah.
And then I get a notification on my phone from my friend the DCD, who's like, oh my gosh, Amazon pre-orders are live. So I go and secured 4 pre-orders.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A baker's dozen.
So I'm very excited about it. I still don't think it's real. I still think I'm going to get Walmarted
Yeah,
on this.
they're going to be like, yeah, not so fast.
Because I got super excited about my Walmart pre-order, and then they just pulled it away. But now, GameStop.com also had their pre-orders go live just within 30 minutes of the show going live.
Oh, okay.
So that
So
means the
about
3 other
100
major
other
retailers.
people are happy.
About 100, yeah. So they were recommending, well, not they. I just saw some people online saying, hey, if you're having trouble getting in online, maybe you want to actually physically drive to your GameStop and pre-order it inside the store. So, because
that help?
as when we went live today, the GameStop website was crashed. It was down.
Oh,
So
that's smart.
if you're listening to this semi-soon-ish,
Yeah. Go now to your
and
local
you have
GameStop.
time, you can still potentially pre-order one. But so we still haven't seen pre-orders from Target. I'm guessing they'll have an allotment as well.
Yeah.
And Toys R Us will probably have some. There'll probably be other retailers, so you still have a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From everything I've heard, it's very similar allotments to the NES Classic, which is worrisome. in
They
the scheme of
said
things.
there would be more, substantially more, if I remember correctly.
From my friends on the inside at some of the retailers, they say different. So we'll see. But I'm still excited for this thing. I can't wait to get my hands on one. Super Nintendo is my favorite console of all time. So when I look at that list of games, it just blows my mind that Nintendo's actually offering all of those in one place.
Right.
Like, this lineup is insane. The NES Classic, great lineup and had so many great games. But the Super Nintendo one, it's like, these are some of the best games of all time.
Another level.
It totally is another level. It's weird that it's coming with 2 controllers, though. Like, those games, the Super Nintendo doesn't scream multiplayer to me. Like, obviously, Street Fighter comes to mind. But besides that, like, I really thought of the Super Nintendo as a very single-player focused experience.
I think Nintendo in general is more of a single-player focused experience.
Until N64, and that's when it became very much local multiplayer, 4-player Mario Kart, GoldenEye, Smash Bros.
Sure. I think it makes sense to include 2 because so many people bought a second controller for the NES Classic Edition, and they can increase the price.
Yeah.
That means increasing their profit margins, and then they don't have to potentially lose sale to like third-party resellers or people who are making like
The knockoff ones.
exactly.
Especially when the knockoff ones are really nice, and most of them are USB, which is way better than the dumbass Wiimote thing. Why are they still using that? Like,
That's a great
There's
question.
some big questions about this thing. Why is the cord so short still? Why aren't they making way, way, way more of them? And why are they using that damn connection? It's like I had a theory a long time ago based on nothing that the NES Classic used that thing because they were trying to get rid of a bunch of extras they had from Wiimote nunchucks and stuff. And they're like, whatever, we'll get rid of the shit that we have. But the fact that they're still using it, I'm like, there's no way there was that much left.
You never know. Maybe they had giant warehouses full of these connectors, and they're like, we got to get rid of them.
We got to figure it out
Let's
somehow.
go.
Because it would just make so much more sense if it used some form of USB so that the Switch could use it as well eventually.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it just seems like a no-brainer. So the fact that they're not doing it, it's like there has to be some weird reason that they're using. I keep saying connector. I don't know what the actual word would be. That they haven't used since the Wii.
Well, maybe we should ask them. I'm going to see Nintendo at PAX next weekend.
Oh, Mr. Nintendo, gonna say what's up to me.
Well, I don't know if Mr. Nintendo will be there.
Oh.
Or, I mean, are you going to be there?
We literally just call Mr. Nintendo. Whoever we're talking to from Nintendo, Mr. Nintendo is like 12 different people.
Well, normally I talk to David and JC or Krista on their marketing team. They're
Shout out to
always
Krista.
out at the Nintendo events. They do a great job. Very, very lovely people. I'll see if I can get an answer from one of them.
We got to figure it out. And you got to come back here.
Those
Kinda
Treehouse
Funny
people,
Games
though,
Daily.
they know how to keep
They're
their
tight-lipped.
secrets.
Yeah. But there has to be a reason for this. But yeah, you want to read some of the questions from the people?
so Peter Gibbons wrote in, just like you can, at kindafunny.com/KFGD and said, hey, Kinda Funny gang, if you're going to talk about the SNES Classic pre-order mess from today, I'd love to throw you my thoughts on Nintendo. I think they're assholes. Just total and complete assholes. I grew up playing nothing but Nintendo consoles starting in 1985 with the NES. The 360 was my first non-Nintendo platform, and finally walked away from them during the Wii years because they stopped paying attention to core gamers. I was excited and looking forward to possibly rejoining the fold since the Switch is apparently so awesome, but the company's handling of the SNES Classic is such a turnoff that I really feel compelled to never give them any money ever again. Does that sound pissy and extreme? It does, and I know that, but as a consumer, there's often very little you can do other than vote with your wallet, even if it doesn't actually amount to anything. Nintendo is pissing into the faces of its most hardcore fans with the SNES Classic, and they clearly don't even care. And sometimes I just wish the company would fold. They are among the most anti-consumer companies in the games industry, and they just make me a little sick to my stomach sometimes. Hope everyone at Kinda Funny was able to get a hold of some pre-orders. Have a great day.
He admits it, but that is a very extreme response to it.
Yes.
Calling Nintendo one of the most anti-consumer companies in games is a bit hyperbolic, I would say.
Of course.
They have many, many, many faults that people like me know more than most because I care and I want Nintendo to do good. And so it's hard to stand there and be like, well, I do feel like I'm getting shat on sometimes with a lot of these decisions, like all the things I just named about the SNES Classic.
Right.
But I don't know. At the end of the day, they're a business and they're doing a really good job of running that business. And I'm sure that there's some reason that the supplies are so small for this thing. They don't want it to just be sitting on the shelves. They don't want it to just be one of those items that they can't get rid of, like some of the less popular amiibo. Whenever you walk into a Target and you just see like 1,000 Tom Nooks from Animal Crossing, it's just like that cost them money to have that on those store shelves, and it doesn't paint them in a good light. So having this hot item that they can just have it to create headlines for themselves, that only markets the Switch to the... He's making good arguments that this is an insult to Nintendo's actual fans and to its actual core gamers. That is true. But I don't think that's the audience for this thing. The audience for this thing is the moms and dads out there that are just like, oh, Nintendo's a relevant thing. It's the hot toy that everybody wants, which then in their mind makes them think, oh, we should invest in Nintendo with the Switch. Our kids should have a Switch.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I definitely think this is the hot ticket item. And, Greg and I had talked about on the show previously how Nintendo, kind of has this idea of liking being like the cool thing on the shelf. Like, oh, you can't get the Switch. You can't get, the NES Classic. You can't get the SNES Classic. It's like the hot holiday item. And I don't understand, though, in the growing shift of retail, how less and less people are buying their things in stores on a shelf and they're buying from the digital marketplace. Why wouldn't you make as many units available as possible? Like, I totally understand this line of thought about wanting to limit the demand or limit the supply to increase the demand, right? But now we're in a world where you can direct ship to your consumers across the world in hundreds of countries. And so I don't get it if that's their continued strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a clear difference, though, between the Switch and the classic systems. Like, all the arguments I'm making are only for the classic thing.
Okay.
Because I don't believe, and from everyone I've talked to, I know they don't believe that they're trying to limit the Switch. They don't want the Switch to be this thing that is the hot ticket item because you can't buy it. They want people buying the Switch. They want that thing to be out in as many homes as possible so they can start putting all of their biggest IP. Like, we're not going to get Pokemon until there's enough Switches out to sell copies of Pokemon, right?
Right.
They want to do that. They're being held back by the supply that they can make based on batteries and just production issues. But I think there has to be something else with the classic things. And I think that is just the hot ticket item that they limit for some reason. And I feel like the people that it upsets aren't necessarily the people they're concerned with. And I think that upsets those people even more to hear that. But that's just the way it is.
Yeah. So Tony Z also wrote in, and I'm not going to read his entire statement here because it is kind of long, but he asks, do you think it's a collector mentality that makes everyone want one so bad? Is it the convenience of having those games in one unit as opposed to a mess that is multiple virtual console accounts? I have my original SNES and play some of those games every now and then, but in this current era of video games, it's hard to justify making time to go back when there's so much to play from the current generation. I also just despise the way Nintendo operates with their shipping practice. I didn't pre-order a Switch for this very reason, and there still aren't enough games on it that pique my interest to justify buying one, so I'm okay with waiting. I missed out on getting an NES Classic, but I only wanted to get one for my then girlfriend's kids to show them what real games are like instead of that Minecraft garbage.
Damn.
What do you think it is, other than nostalgia, that keeps people so ready to put their faith in Nintendo? Also, do you think we're going to have another situation where they barely supply the SNES Classics and then later announce its early demise?
They're definitely going to do that.
Yeah.
I totally think this is just a collector nostalgia play. Like, I would love to see the stats of how many people actually play their NES Classic that have it compared to people that are just either trying to hawk it online or having it as just a display thing. I know for me, I played for a couple hours just popping into a couple games, and now it just sits on my as like a display at my house because
it is pretty cute.
It's really cool. But I just feel like, and I think the Super Nintendo is with all the stuff that we talked about earlier, is a step in the right direction more than the NES Classic was. But I own a Super Nintendo. I own most of those games on multiple virtual consoles over different consoles. I have emulators because that's been a thing forever. So I can have every Super Nintendo game on my phone, or like on anywhere and play with the controller if I wanted to. Like, I don't even think it's about playing the games. It is just about this idea of the wanting to support. Like, I want to buy one because I want to support the idea of Super Nintendo. I loved the Super Nintendo, and it's just like, that's a cool thing to me. And like, it was my first console. So it's like that it's all nostalgia. It's totally nostalgia. And this thing wouldn't be a hot item if there was a bazillion of them. I truly believe that if it was just readily available to everyone, that it would not sell that much more than it's selling.
I think that's a fair point. And I agree with you there. I also got caught up in this fever of getting an NES Classic Edition, so much so that when ThinkGeek put new bundles online, I ordered it while we were live on the show to make sure that I snagged one. And now that I have it in my possession, I'm like, why did I want this thing so bad? Like, what came over me? I don't understand.
It's that collector drive. Like, there's something about it that it's addicting and it's obsessive. Like, once you know that it's hard to get a thing, you want it 10 times more, right? The grass is always greener in the realest way, where it's just like, you just want the thing because people are telling you should want it. And it works. Always works.
Well, you got me, Nintendo. Speaking of Nintendo, the next item on the Rover Report, Nintendo has added PayPal to the eShop. From Eurogamer, they say it's now possible to pay on the eShop using PayPal, meaning you'll no longer have to buy eShop credit elsewhere, and you can now pick up games from other regions almost instantly. The service will be available in some 34 countries, including the UK, Japan, and the USA, and it's available today. Now, it's worth noting that while the Switch eShop is region-free, PayPal payments are not. So while it's straightforward picking up games from the Japanese or American stores, if you have PayPal accounts for either region, you're out of luck if you've only a single region PayPal account. So that's a good
This
disclaimer.
is good. Yeah, it's always been weird on Nintendo consoles where it's like you have to buy the Nintendo points or whatever. It's just like, why does there need to be funny money involved? Like, can't we just buy the thing? Tell me it's $10, not 1,000 points or whatever.
Yeah, Microsoft eventually caught on to that and got rid of the Microsoft points. Do you remember when they used to have the points? And you would always have like a random amount of money left over because the points never quite matched up to the dollar amount. And you're like, what am I going to do with like $1.68?
Yeah.
Like nothing. Now I have to buy more points. You duped me.
PayPal's ubiquitous too, so it's good. Everyone has a PayPal account, so it's just like more ways to make it easy to buy games, the better. And Nintendo's eShop is kind of weird and cumbersome, so these are steps in the right direction.
Yes, exactly. So not much more to say about that one. Number 3, PlayStation's big tease yesterday, which Greg and Danny talked about, was Gran Turismo Sport, a limited edition for PlayStation, or excuse me, a limited edition Gran Turismo Sport PlayStation 4 consoles being released to coincide with the new game's launch later this year. Yes, the design is pretty boring. The UK, Europe, and Australia will be able to purchase a limited edition 1 terabyte slim console and controller coming October 18th. The main bundle includes a limited edition 2-tone silver and black 1 terabyte slim console and a customized controller. A day 1 edition of Gran Turismo Sport will also be included, which gives players access to $250,000 of in-game credits, livery sticker packs, a chrome racing helmet, and 60 PS4 avatars. So, Josh at a gas station on I-85 wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD and said, Kevin, Greg and Tim, I know you don't care about GT Sport. Why in the world is a special edition bundle for GT Sport not coming to North America? And why is it not a PS4 Pro? I couldn't get over it not being released here and just import one, but not for PS4 Slim. Excuse me. I'll hang up and listen now. Additionally, Andrea and Tim, is it that hard to add a few more crates of special editions to the shipments coming to NA? No Metal Gear Solid Special Edition and no GT Sport Special Edition? What gives? Now I really want to hang up and listen.
You might have a bit more insight into all this stuff, because I've wondered as well, like, why do they decide when they have the PS4 Pro, why is it so often that the bundle is with the different system? Or like Nintendo does this all the time, where it's like, oh, it's a special edition 3DS, but it's like not the XL. Why?
Yeah, I wish I had better insight as to why they pick specific consoles, but I have to imagine that it has something to do with trends of how the community has purchased these games in this particular franchise in the past. For example, I understand why Gran Turismo Sport is not coming to North America, because it's not that popular here. Mm-hmm. Like sales numbers for that series in the past have
been
not
declining.
Yeah,
in North
have not
America.
even come close to where they are in the UK and Europe. So it makes sense that PlayStation is going to roll out a custom console for this franchise in particular in the region where it's the most popular.
But why not a PS4 Pro? You'd imagine Gran Turismo Sport, especially with the VR and all that stuff, is a perfect game to put alongside the Pro.
Right.
Because Gran Turismo is a franchise that for a long time was kind of a show pony graphic game. Like Gran Turismo 3 was like the game you used to show off the PlayStation 2, right?
Right.
So why the PS4 Slim and not the PS4 Pro?
You know, I think Danny might have some insight as to if Gran Turismo fans in Europe are still maybe hanging on to the last generation. Maybe PlayStation's thinking is, hey, we have these fans. They haven't upgraded to PS4 yet. They're not going to spend the extra money to get PS4 Pro. Maybe if we just make it the entry level,
there's enough people in Europe to
then
get
they'll
in.
make the switch. Kind of how yesterday they were talking about the kind of silliness that Microsoft is not putting that Minecraft special edition as the Xbox One X. It's an Xbox One S. And I kind of see that makes a little bit more sense to me from like a parents need something that's a little bit more affordable for their kids. But this, I mean, you would think they would want to push their best new thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Gran Turismo Sport, I'm excited to pop into the VR just because I expect more from it than some of the PSVR driving experiences we've had so far, which have been very limited. But Gran Turismo it's a name, you know, it's a big game, and I'm totally not a car guy, totally not a car simulator game guy. But I'm excited to pop into it. I know Kevin is like super stoked about it because he's one of those fucking nerds.
I wonder, Kevin, did you see this console? Do you like it? Let us know. I thought that this was a really kind of lackluster effort on PlayStation's part to make a custom console. Did you see it?
What?
The custom Gran Turismo Sport console.
No, I did not.
You didn't?
I love Gran Turismo.
I haven't seen it either. I just saw the tease for it where it was like the
So
red
let me
carpet
describe
thing
it to
over
people who are listening or watching who haven't seen it yet. So you got a PS4 Slim,
Mm-hmm.
the top half silver, the bottom half black. On the top of the console, there's a square logo, the GT logo. That's it. It's
Interesting.
literally just the GT logo
Oh yeah, that sucks.
on top of the console.
Oh yeah, that sucks. You heard it
It's
from
not
Kevin
like
Coelho.
It's not like a full wrap or anything. And then the controller that goes with it is just as lame.
Oh.
Yeah, it just has the GT in the middle. This is the second time they've done this, right? With Destiny, they also went with like, hey, the controller just has a little.
Just the logo. Yeah, at least the Destiny console is like that nice like glacier white. It's all white. I don't get why, if you're going to put art on a console, why you don't wrap the front of the console that you see the most. Almost every gamer that I know has their video game console in an entertainment center of some kind.
Yeah, so you're just seeing that front part. That
Correct.
makes a lot of sense.
But most of this art you see is on top. Anyway, I wanted to ask if you'd seen it.
Sport. Woo!
Kevin
Right
Stoke.
there.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, so I honestly forgot about this franchise. Like Gran Turismo. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it got so muddled in the PS3 era with GTA, or not GTA, GT like 5 being like, we're going to put out the prologue. And then later we're putting out the actual game. And it's like, it got so messy that like, as somebody that's not a fan, I couldn't even understand the narrative of the games coming out and like what number we were on. So there was a while with sport where I'm like, what was there a Gran Turismo 6? I think. I don't even know.
Yes, there was.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
Like it gets messed up where I'm like, there was 3 A spec, then there was 4, then there was 5 prologue, and then there was 5, and then I was like, was there more after that? I don't know.
5 was the one that got delayed, like,
Forever, and that's
So
why they
many
released
times.
the prologue.
yeah. All right, Tim, if people wanted to know what's coming in the Mom and Grab Shots, where would they go?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
Ooh.
Well, we got a lot today. It's a Tuesday.
That's right.
That's why.
Yeah, so this is a kind of a hefty list, so bear with me. So out today, Bleed on PS4, Chromagun on PS4, Duck Game on PS4.
Duck Game, super fun game.
Oh.
If you haven't tried it, you
Have
should
not.
definitely check it out. It's a Towerfall-esque game.
Ooh,
Very fun.
Intrigued. Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series, episode 3 is out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Jax and Daxter, the precursor Legacy, which is, of course, a PS2 classic, out on the PS4. Madden NFL 18 GOAT Edition for PS4 and Xbox One. Mages of Mistralia is on PS4. Minecraft Story Mode, The Complete Adventure, is out for Switch. Quake Champions is now in early access on PC. Rivals of Aether is on Xbox One. Aether? I think I said that wrong.
No one knows.
Soul Dimension is out for PSVR, PS4. Super Combo Man Smash Edition for PS4 and Xbox One. Swap Quest is on the PS4 and Xbox One. The Book of Regrets.
The Book of Regrets. What is that?
I have no idea, but I want to look it up now. The Escapist 2, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Thimbleweed Park is on PS4. Uncharted The Lost Legacy is finally here. And Velocity 2X Critical Mass Edition on PS4 and Vita. So,
You played through Uncharted yet?
I was watching John play a couple of hours last night while I was working on my
Big fan.
laptop. I was watching him play.
I'm excited for you guys to play it today.
We can
Tweet me.
talk about it once I've gotten a little bit more hands-on with
Awesome.
it. Jeremiah Jux wrote in and said, "Good morning, Tim and Andrea. Beneath the truckload of Naruto titles alongside the Uncharted Lost Legacy released today, there's a classic game on the drop list. That game is Jax and Daxter, the precursor Legacy. My question is, what's up with Jack? Will the success of Crash and the rumors of Spyro be the catalyst for a new Jack title? Or maybe a remaster? Just wanted to hear your thoughts. Thanks for the show."
I'm going to say no. I think that the PS2 classic coming out is probably the best you're going to get from Jack or Daxter. A remaster, definitely not. They already did the remaster version of the Jack trilogy on PS3 last gen. And I don't think that we're going to get... The Crash remake situation was such a unique thing where games just aren't remade that way.
Right.
You know, like the only ones I can kind of think of are like Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 2 when they did that in Master Chief Collection. But like to get the Super Mario All-Stars treatment is like a different type of remastering that I think is going to be reserved for very specific cases. I think Spyro might be one. Jack, I don't see it happening, and I think the PS2 classic is kind of them being like, here's what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm with you here. I think that, this franchise has a big fan base, but not a massive fan base. Crash certainly a much larger community, and it's tough to know when you have the kind of social mind think of people being like, I really want this thing. And certainly Crash has stoked the fire in people to think about what else could they bring back. But as you mentioned, getting the right development team to go in and handcraft this and do the original justice is a massive undertaking. And I don't know if the dollar signs are going to be there for this franchise.
Yeah. And in addition to that, I feel like it's with Crash, the trilogy, they're all very similar. I mean, one has its differences from 2 and 3, but at the end of the day, like, they're very similar games. Jak and Daxter kind of had an identity issue going on throughout the trilogy, where from Jak 1 to Jak 2, it was like the whole grimdark thing happened, and it was like, oh, now he has guns and it's GTA, because that was when GTA happened, and everyone was like, oh shit, we need to be a bit more sandbox and open with everything. And then Jak 3 kind of reined it in a bit, and it's a great trilogy of games, but as a platformer guy, Jak and Daxter is definitely not the highest on my list. When its high points are so high, but overall, it never really hit me the way other Naughty Dog games did. Like I know that I'm like, there's a lot of people that love Jak and Daxter. I'm not one of them.
It's okay. You can not like something.
I know.
That's allowed.
It is. It is.
All right, new dates. Ubisoft announced the development of Anno 1800. The next installment is scheduled to be released in winter 2018 on Windows PC.
What the hell is Anno?
It's like a sim game. To put it like really high level.
Anno 1800.
Yeah.
A Ubisoft game. Okay.
Yeah, have you never seen it?
No.
Yeah, it's like the last time I played it was Gamescom pre-Gamescom, like 2 years ago. That was the previous franchise. Yeah, it's cool. Episode 2 of Telltale's Batman: The Enemy Within is coming on September 26th for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. The Crew 2 will finally launch on March 16th, 2018. So they've pushed that to Q1 next year. That's for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And the PSVR Final Fantasy 15 spin-off Monsters of the Deep is releasing for PlayStation 4 on November 21st.
Playing Final Fantasy 15, the one thing I thought is I can't wait to play this game in VR for the fishing. Let's do those fishing.
I feel like you're
mini
being
games.
facetious right now, Mr.
Who the
Gettys.
hell is excited for this? Nobody. What the fuck?
Alexa Ray is excited for it.
I don't know that she is. I
mean,
doubt it. I highly doubt it.
She's excited in the sense that, like, it's going to be so ridiculous that we're going to make lots of fun of it.
Yeah.
But, like, fishing.
Yeah, I think she should be excited for all the other Final Fantasy 15 news. It wasn't on the Roper Report today, but quick version, Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition announced. So it's going to be the game on mobile, or broken up into different pieces. And then there's Final Fantasy 15 PC Edition, which is going to be, as you'd expect, the high-end version of the game. And then rumors of Final Fantasy 15 coming to the Switch during a little interview with
You don't actually think that's possible?
I don't know, but he was talking. He was just like, yeah, and we're looking to get it on other systems that are pretty popular and rhyme with Twitch.
I mean, that's a pretty big but
it could be the Pocket
drop,
Edition as
right?
well. Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing a game that's going to be 170 gigabytes to install on your PC is going to run on Switch. But who knows? Maybe they'll just cut a bunch of features out.
Yeah.
Or something.
I don't know. We'll see.
That's nuts.
10 years later.
10 years later, indeed. All right, deals of the day. Shadow Warrior 2 is 50% off today, and the game's final free DLC mission, Bounty Hunt Part 2, is now available. Speaking of free, the first Shadow Warrior is up for grabs at no charge on Steam until tomorrow, so you have to act quickly. And Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege will be available to play for free from August 24th through the 27th. That's this weekend. The game will be available for up to 50% off through the free weekend, and that discount goes until September 4th. And so for players who try the game during the free weekend, you can carry over your progress and continue to play uninterrupted. which is great. Did you ever play Rainbow Six Siege?
No.
Really?
Alfredo's all about it though.
Yeah, I had a lot. My clan and I played a lot of that during the first like 6 to 9 months of release. Kind of
the Dark Ages, I heard.
Yeah, the Dark. No, it was good back then. It just was a little bit limited because there wasn't much to do. There was only a few maps, and the way that they released the operators, I mean, they made you really kind of wait a while in between them. And we had the season pass, so you get the operators early, and then you can like buy them later. I'm glad to see that it's had such a long tail and that, it's
It
really
keeps
kind
getting
of
better,
held
supposedly.
and it's held up its competitive legs. But now when I jump in, of course, because I've been away for so long, whenever I'm like, I'm getting the hankering to like, go drive my drone around or whatever.
The play level is just
get
so much higher.
I just get crushed, man. So, practice makes perfect. And then when you don't practice, you're not perfect at all. Okay. So time to move on to some reader mail. So this one we did already. We're talking about Nintendo. So from Connor Ewing. Hey, KFGD team. I was listening to yesterday's Games Daily and it got me thinking, is it just me or did the gaming community not demand or even think about having these ports from previous console cycles like it has for the PS3 to PS4 era? For instance, I never once thought, man, why won't they remake the Jax and Daxter trilogy for the PS3 with upscaled graphics and extras? Yet we have had so many people clamoring for a Skyrim remaster and a Mass Effect trilogy remaster. I won't lie, I wouldn't hate having that one. I know the remaster trend boomed because there weren't many games at launch of this current console cycle. The lack of backwards compatibility and publishers knew it would bring in many paper dollars with little risk. But even as more new games come out, I found those around me and even myself saying, where's my Skyrim on PS4, you dinguses? It all seems to point back to our generation's longing for nostalgia. I would love to hear the KFGD team's thoughts on this. Thank you for making my days in the office enjoyable. Connor.
I disagree. I feel like there were a lot of people in the PS3 generation asking for the remasters of the PS2 games. Like there was so many that we got them, whether it was the God of War or Shadow of the Colossus and Eco or the Jak and Daxter trilogy or the Prince of Persia trilogy. Or I mean, the list goes on.
Well,
like, there was
the
so
PS2
many.
library of games is one of the best libraries in video game history.
Yeah.
Like so many fantastic titles came out on that console. I think that we're always going to have nostalgia for the things that we used to play, but having that nostalgia and being motivated to buy something because of that nostalgia are not necessarily the same thing. Mm-hmm. Like when I think about all of the collections or remasters or HD ports or whatever that are out there and available today, and I look at them in my library, I so rarely ever actually want to like click on it and boot it up and start playing. And certainly not for hours at a time.
Yeah.
And when it's digitally available to me as somebody who enjoys physical media, it's not as a tangible collector's thing.
Yeah. So that makes it, no, I'm totally with you on that. I am also a physical person. I love the collector's editions and definitive editions or whatever. And I'm totally in on the nostalgia stuff. So it's like, I'm down. I bought Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 on PS3, and I also got on PS4 just because I wanted it, and there's a better version out. So it's like, I needed it. But then I didn't play them. And that's the problem is I played through half of 10 on the Vita, but then I stopped. Like, I think it's the same thing as Netflix, where it's like there's so much to watch that you kind of feel like you can't do it all. So you kind of just have decision paralysis and you don't. And a lot of these remasters, especially from last gen, would be like 3 games. So it would be like the Jak and Daxter trilogy, Ratchet and Clank trilogy. And it's just like from there, it's like, all right, maybe you'll play your favorite of the trilogy, but you're not going to go back and do all of them, right? So it's kind of just too much content that it makes it, you don't enjoy any of it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and I think about a game like Skyrim, which he mentioned coming to Switch, and how when that announcement happened originally, when the Switch announcement happened, and then there was like flashes of Skyrim on it, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, when is Skyrim coming to Switch? And then Bethesda, confirmed it at E3 this year. I just go, do I really want to go back there? I mean, I had a fantastic time with Skyrim and I loved playing it. And I also got it for PS4 and I still haven't, picked it up and started it there either. But part of me kind of thinks that I'm going to get it regardless, even if I never play it. And I want to know what that is. Do you guys have that? People listening, people watching, do you feel that weird pulling sensation of like, I need to buy this thing even though you know you're not going to pick it up? Write into us at
Let us know.
kindoffunny.com
I've done that way too much.
KFGD. Let me know what you think.
But then it goes back to what we were talking about with this SNES Classic.
Yeah.
Like that, there's
Exactly.
just so many games on it where it's like there's going to be people that play through all of them. But I think most people aren't going to play that long.
No, you're very
If there was some type of achievement system, I think people would be a bit more into it. If there was some more game to the games that we've played a million times, I'd be all about it. But alas.
Well, kind of shifting off of that to a thing from Hugo Campos. He says, "Hi there. To all of the amazing KF crew, I'm interested in finding out what are your thoughts regarding Aaron Greenberg's latest comments during Gamescom, where he states, people pick Xbox because we have the biggest franchises, the biggest exclusives. Isn't this exactly what is currently going wrong with Xbox? These remarks from him seem like a slap in the face to all of the Xbox fans, especially after a year like 2017 for PlayStation when compared to Xbox. Isn't this also part of the problem? If they are not admitting the lack of games and not focusing on gamers, where are they expecting to go? I can only speak for myself, but after reading these, my desire to ever obtain an Xbox has gone down to zero. I cannot support a company that doesn't admit to their own faults, but does exactly the opposite. Would love to see this topic discussed on the show." So, this is an interesting topic. Now, I have a very conflicted relationship with my feelings about Xbox One. I, like many people out there, spent thousands of hours in many, many years on my Xbox 360 and really didn't pay much attention to my PS3. And now this generation have shifted to PlayStation 4 and have kind of left my Xbox One by the wayside. And when they came to Gamescom, I was really hoping that they had been saving some stuff from E3 to announce here to be like, hey, we have this cool thing. Because historically, both Xbox and PlayStation have made some pretty big announcements at Gamescom before. And when they came out and just were touting all over the place we're the world's most powerful console and then didn't really give something to demonstrate why they're the world's most powerful console or why you need to spend $500 on this console, I was just incredibly disappointed. And listening to them talk about the games on the show and just having it be this really weird press conference. Did you watch the press conference?
I saw clips of it, and I saw a lot of memes going around to people saying that it was just the definitive edition of the E3 press conference.
Oh my gosh, that's a perfect meme.
Where it's just the same thing with a little bit more.
With a little bit extra. I mean, obviously the Jurassic Park announcement was like the one standout announcement from that conference. But the idea that they keep talking about how powerful and how amazing this console is, and then they just kept saying how, oh, you're going to want it because all of the games that you've already played are going to be available with a free 4K upgrade. I'm like, but do I want that? Is that the reason that I am getting this? And surprisingly, when I asked this question on Twitter, a lot of people came back and said yes, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting people to kind of be a little miffed like I was, to be like, where is the cool big thing, the flashy game that I'm going to look at and go, wow, this is exactly why I need the power in an Xbox One X, and I'm going to get that console. But that doesn't seem to matter to Xbox fans. I mean, what do you make of this?
I don't know. It's talking about Xbox is very difficult because I'm a Nintendo, I'm a PlayStation guy. Not an Xbox guy, never have been. The original Xbox, really into Halo. Xbox 360, I totally missed out on that entirely. Not an online like first person shooter guy, so I just missed that.
That's a shame.
But also I've played a lot of the games, and also most of the great ones were third party or not exclusive. So like there was great exclusives, but when I look at it, the Xbox exclusive lineup has never pulled me in the way the other guys have, with the exception of Halo. I am a big Halo guy, but when I look at what they're doing now, and whenever they say, like, they've always done this, like every year they have some tagline that is like, it's the biggest lineup in Xbox history or whatever. And when Aaron Greenberg was on our show, we did a whole Gamescast about it where we kind of went into that, and it's just like, it's hard not to roll your eyes when it's like, but I'm looking at PlayStation and their exclusive lineup, and I think it's a lot better. But when you use words that are not facts, you can get away with that. The biggest. Okay, well, right now they have PUBG. Technically, that makes them have the biggest thing. Is that game exclusive or not? They're being weird and cagey about it, but they're acting as if it is.
You know, it's an interesting qualifier. Like, what does the biggest exclusives mean? Like, what are they technically using to base that off? Like, what's the data point? You know, that the FCC has said, okay, you can technically claim that you have the biggest, you know, whatever, XYZ. You know, and I don't know if they have the biggest exclusives right now. I mean, they certainly. I mean,
I would argue they don't.
They certainly don't like, this year.
Yeah, no, and even looking into next year, it's like, all right, cool. This year there's Cuphead, Sea of Thieves is next year.
Cuphead
right?
is not a big game, though.
Exactly, but it is exclusive.
Yes.
There's Forza, and it's like. Crackdown if that game happens. If it doesn't, who knows? Like,
I think that was a huge blow to the Xbox fan base, hearing that was getting pushed, and there really isn't another replacement, like a Record Definitive Edition. Is that the thing that people wanted? You know,
I mean, the PUBG thing is huge.
Right, but it's not
huge.
being released this year. It's going into Games Preview at the end of the year. You know, like I would have assumed that if they're going to launch on a console, that they would have like a nice polished version ready to go, that they weren't going to go into another essentially early access.
Yeah.
And that to me was kind of disappointing as well.
It is disappointing, but I also think that PUBG is the
it doesn't matter
type
for
of
that
experience
game.
that it doesn't matter because it is more than playable. It is a very fun, great experience as is. And I think you put that on consoles, people are going to have a good time. Them not having a huge exclusive lineup this year, I don't think that's the biggest deal. And we've seen this in the last couple of years with Sony, where they don't have big exclusives that come out in the fall. They don't need to, because that's where the Call of Duty shine. That's where the Battlefronts and Battlefield shine, and Assassin's Creed. And that's where the third parties can sell. So they can kind of hold back on the exclusives. And we've seen Sony this year kill it with Nier and Horizon and Neo. And it was just like a boom, 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 boom in the beginning of the year. And it kind of never stopped.
Right. You know, it'll be interesting to see where Xbox is going to pick up, you know, key partnerships. We've seen them show Assassin's Creed Origin a couple of times on stage now. And that's really, you know, it for games that are coming out this fall as far as like tentpole partnership titles. Whereas Sony has a major partnership with Destiny 2 and Call of Duty, World War II, and they've always had, you know, an ongoing relationship with Star Wars Battlefront 2. So I'm kind of like, well, what's the motivation for someone who's on the fence? Like, if you're out there and you're like, okay, I'm going to buy a new Xbox One or a PS4 and I don't know which one I want yet. And you're taking the exclusives off the table. You're not thinking about the exclusives. You're like, I'm just getting this because it has better partner content. You know, which one do you pick? It kind of, to me, is like, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, the whole thing to me is a no-brainer. Like, the only reason that I can understand people choosing the Xbox One over the PlayStation 4 is if that's where your friends are and that's the ecosystem that you want to be in. And that I totally understand. That's a game changer. If your friends play Overwatch on Xbox, you should get an Xbox. You know, period. But if you're looking for, like, I don't even know what it is. If you're excited for Sea of Thieves, I guess, I don't know. I'm not.
I had a lot of fun playing it, but it wasn't certainly a game that I would, you know, say I have to go buy an Xbox One X to play.
Oh, yeah. The Xbox One X argument is something that I feel like it's way more similar to the PlayStation 4 Pro than they're acting like it is, where it's not something that they need to push with a big launch title game, because it's not a console launch. They can talk about it as if it is all they want. It's just a different version of the damn console.
Yeah, no.
And the people that want it, the people that like are super into that high definition, the HDR, and have beautiful 4K TVs. I mean, I do, and I'm not invested in the Xbox ecosystem, so I'm not running out to buy one of these systems. But with the PlayStation 4 Pro, I was, because I'm like, well, damn right I want to fucking have the best version of these games.
But you see how what you said is kind of contradictory.
How so?
That you were willing to, you know, invest in the PS4 Pro to have the best graphical fidelity and power experience.
For the games I wanted to play.
Right. So you're saying basically that Xbox hasn't enticed you with any games that you want to play on the system.
But if it did, I'd be all about the Xbox One X.
Right.
So I think I would be the audience for that. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think it's the Alfredos out there that are sold on the games that he's playing on Xbox One, and he is like, Alfredo's not in the PS4 ecosystem. He is in the Xbox One ecosystem.
Would you want to get an Xbox One X to play 4K versions of games that have come out recently? Games like Titanfall 2, for example, or other, tentpole games that are AAA that have come out in the last 2 years. Would you want to like go back and experience those games in 4K?
Not necessarily. That would be probably more of like a party trick type thing, where it's like even with I played the hell out of Ratchet and Clank, right? Love that game. When I got my PS4 Pro, I was like, I'm gonna boot it up again because I heard it has beautiful HDR, just to look at it. Played for 30 minutes, but I wasn't gonna replay the game just because it looked better.
Right, but these are all free 4K updates. You don't have to buy the game again if you've already bought it. So you could hypothetically go to, a game store and buy a used copy and then automatically get the free 4K upgrade.
But I mean, that's like the HDR mode in the PS4. I mean,
right.
It's not even PS4 Pro.
No,
HDR
the reason
is
I
available
brought it
on
up
PS4
is
Slim.
because I'm trying to play devil's advocate a little bit, because I know, we get a lot of criticism on the show for being very PlayStation sided, and as somebody who I'm trying to grasp at reasons that I would want to go and do this, because I was surprised by how many people responded to me on Twitter to say, I'm excited about this Xbox One X. I liked what Microsoft had to say at Gamescom. I can't wait to watch 4K Blu-ray on my Xbox One X, which you can technically do on the Xbox One S. But
oh yeah, you can.
But like,
I do that.
I'm trying to like come to the other side and say, like, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. So
yeah. So if I'm not being clear, I'm arguing that I think the Xbox One X is fine as it is. I'm saying that like
it's
I am not.
For you.
It's not for me.
Got it.
But if I was an Xbox person, it would be for me.
Got it.
I am the audience for it. If I was on that side of the audience,
okay.
I'm just on the PlayStation. My thing is, it's the same as the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I'm sold on the PlayStation 4 Pro. So if I was sold on Xbox, I'd be sold on Xbox One X. It wouldn't need this big launch title to get me enticed.
You're not like Greg, who still hasn't upgraded.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's a crazy person. I can't believe I don't get it. He's the PlayStation guy.
It's bizarre.
He also prefers the second gen Vita to the OLED one, which is stupid.
That's not stupid. Oh, wait, no. He prefers the second gen over the OLED. Okay, that is stupid.
Yeah.
Greg, you're stupid, but we love you. If you guys have some thoughts about this, Xbox community fans out there of Kind of Funny Games, please write into us at kindoffunny.com/KFGD. Now, it's time to squad up.
Never roll alone.
Callum McEwen, who is playing on Vita and occasionally on PS4, writes in and says, "Hi, everyone. I travel on buses a lot for my job, and I've taken to playing games on Vita as a way to pass the time. I've been really enjoying PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale and just realized I'm very close to getting the platinum. The only thing is I need the online trophies. But do you know how many people are playing this game on Vita? Fucking zero. I'd love to play with some best friends who'd help me get that sweet, sweet plat. I also occasionally dabble in other online games on PS4 too, so feel free to add me and we can maybe jump into something together. Thelma and Louise style. Thanks all." So his PSN ID is Fortune-Cookie. Excuse me. It's McFortune-Cookie. That's McFortune-Cookie. Cookie. I messed it up. Let me do it one more time. McFortune-Cookie. Vita and PS4. Thanks for writing in. Tim.
Yes.
What did we get wrong today?
Titan Matrix says, y'all were talking about the Gran Turismo Sport bundles, but it sounds like you didn't see the announcement. These are the special editions coming out. Jet Black PS4 1 terabyte, Jet Black PS4 500 gigs, Jet Black PS4 1 terabyte plus extra Jet Black DualShock, and Jet Black PS4 Pro edition. So a PS4 Pro is an option, and they all include Sport. So yeah, I only knew that based on the question coming in, the guy saying, why isn't there a Pro? So
turns out there is, I guess.
There is. So
there
okay, good for you, Sony. Doing the right thing.
Those are all still not coming to North America, though. Those are all just...
They're still in Europe. Yeah,
Europe and Australia.
But there is a PS4 Pro. But great. They should do this.
I mean, it would be kind of a bonehead move to not.
Good for them. Let me see. What else? There's a lot of editorializing again.
I bet. I do like the double fisting you have with the LaCroix cans today.
Gotta do it. The reason Final Fantasy 15 on PC is 170 gigs is because it supports 8K and 4K, and all those textures require space. But if Final Fantasy 15 for Switch wouldn't have those textures, so it wouldn't be as big. It's fair.
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't saying it was going to be that large on Switch. It clearly isn't that large on PS4 and Xbox One. But my point was, like, this is a massive, huge game.
If that game could run on the Switch, that would be crazy.
Yeah. What?
We're going to end with this.
Okay.
From Blue Arrow. The Affleck duck is actually a Mongolian goose. I know it wasn't mentioned, but random facts. Also, I know Greg is really a duck in disguise, so it makes it relevant. Thanks, boys. Kind of funny games daily.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out that party mode over on patreon.com/kindafunnygames. We will be back tomorrow. I won't. Tim,
Danny, and Greg
won't. It's Danny and Greg tomorrow. So when you write in to kindafunny.com/KFGD, you can address it to Danny and Greg. That will be it for us. Adieu.